It was called a social basket. We did not use the word picnic basket, and to this day I do not. So if someone says you want to go on a picnic, I say no.
Good for you.
I like social basket. Because that basket, you took food to people in need, perhaps mothers who just had babies, but we did this all year, so it wasn't 7 days. 7 days is a stretch to get someone to do something for 7 days. But we were doing this all year, but we didn't know to think of it as anything other than what we had learned growing up. And so we moved to Santa Barbara, California. That was a jump in itself, right?
Wow, yeah.
And it was interesting and it was very odd because the only people that sounded like me were in my family. And the only people who believed as I did was in my family. Even the churches were not like the church we went to back out on Route 1, Box 248. Everything was different. And the approach to life was different. Socializing and helping people was small. I'd come from it being bigger. You knew someone, you were there. It wasn't that someone had to be designated for it. You went with the social basket. I discovered Kwanzaa somewhere around the time I was really graduating from high school, which would have been 1967. And I said to myself, well, I do this anyway, so I wanted to know a little bit, so what are we doing? And then you see that it had all the points to it about gathering, working together, building community, being supportive of each other, being strong together. It was all the things that I had grew up doing, but I did not embrace it. There were some friends where we would do a few things here and there. I remember writing in here someplace that, I got my afro and got my little dashiki and we was walking around really proud and everything. Every once in a while somebody would say, yeah, And that was pretty much it. There were small gatherings here and there, but it wasn't on a large scale. We're in Santa Barbara, California. We're in a town with a major university and a budding junior college, which is now budded. We were in a place where students were coming up from farther south LA to go to Santa Barbara on what was called EOP then, Equal Opportunity. And they were coming in with this whole idea of what identity was that you were living in an area where no one else would live. And no one ever talked Kwanzaa. I tutored, nobody ever talked anything. All they were interested in was getting the scholarship they could get to go to school and do the best they could to get out of there with a degree to get a better job and to get out of where they were living. That was the emphasis. And they would go back home at Christmas time and have a regular Christmas. If anyone was doing Kwanzaa, they kept it to themselves. So it wasn't a big thing. And it's not to not recognize and respect Kwanzaa, because I do. But I just want to let you know that in some parts of people's lives, it is what we were doing already. It just didn't have that name. Okay, it just didn't have that name. And then it gets that name and you don't change things too much. You just keep doing what you were doing. I think it's really important for us to realize a lot of things about what it means to come together to share. So, y'all are here today. CCL is a community. It's diverse in here. It is open, receptive, giving, sharing, working together to help everyone in need, forming a community right here every day, all year.
Speak it.
Okay? And so this is why you come here. You don't come here to be different. You don't come here because you have to. You don't come here because you're supposed to. You come here because you want to. You look forward to it. You get up in the morning, you plan it the day before. Make sure you got your shirt. I had to iron my shirt. This is serious business here.
That's right. That's
You,
right.
you make sure that everything is ready, so when you hit the floor in the morning, you're moving. And it's all good. So the outreach from this amazing place called CCL is tremendous. This is another form of being community. Everyone in here gives something. Just your presence gives something. So understand me, and let me be really clear. It is not about not addressing Kwanzaa. You just have to remember Kwanzaa has a lot of names. Okay? It is also CCL. It is also each and every one of us and what we do every day. It's not easy to do something every day that brings in the community, that goes out to the community. Whether it's clothing, socks, food, rides, a little money to help out with something. Whatever it is, it's all about giving and sharing with no strings attached. There are no strings. I've never had a string come out of CCL. Okay? Never. So, I wrote something. We never know. I actually wrote something. And we do have the points. Let me find what I wrote, because I think I might have just said it. If I know me, I probably just did. But then, sometimes I don't know me.
Oh, come on.
Okay, maybe I just know me. So. All right. When communities are joined together, whether there is diversity of cultures or not, but we share from a foundation of who we are to those around us. And this is to build a solid foundation of support that brings about change, that benefits everyone. I wanted to share that because I believe in that. So today, I have to read these. These are not in memory. So today is Ujamaa, cooperative economics. Okay? This principle refers to uplifting your community economically. This is a very important principle when you look at when this was being created because of what condition communities were in at that time. There wasn't businesses. There was so many things that wasn't happening. There was so much disarray and anger and rage and poverty, and there were so many other things going on. And in the midst of all this, there were still people who were caring. There were still parents who were doing all they could for their children. And there were still young people doing all they could in their community as well. So it wasn't all on the downside. It's just that it needed more on the upside. And so to look at this, Ujamaa, when you think about uplifting a community, it requires for the community to see purpose and meaning in what it is that they're doing. It is hard to do something you have not done. It is really hard to do something that you've been waiting for someone else to do. So Kwanzaa and the 7 principles really are about taking charge of your life and doing something for yourself instead of waiting for someone else to decide that you are worthy. I am worthy. I tell myself that every day. And I use my full name too. I want to make sure I get it out there. So I say to me, Joyce C Brown, I am worthy. And you can fill it in what you're worthy of. It doesn't matter what it is. Put it out there. But you have to have a sense in you that this is real for you. When your life has been one that we used to call being the downtrodden, and that means that somebody's stepping on you, it's hard to see difference when you're not surrounded by anything that tells you that that can be. And that what you see when you leave where you live shows you what you cannot have, and that is constantly reinforced. So Kwanzaa came out of a place of incredible anger and hostility. And people fighting for rights and justice, equality, being seen as a person, as a people, as a being. It's a very important thing what Kwanzaa brought about. And all of that starts in families.
Wasn't this the same time as the Watts riots?
It was the same time. It was the same time. And it was on the back heel of a lot of civil rights and marches and protests and all kinds of things happening in the southern states. It was an amazing time of turmoil and change. And all of it was pointing to becoming free of depending on someone else. And so when you can build your own economics, you do not depend on someone else to decide that you are worthy. You are telling yourself that you are worthy. And it's very important to do so. And so just that one principle is something to take a good look at in your life. It doesn't matter who you are. Anyone can do Kwanzaa. You see, it's not just limited to blacks, African Americans, or people who are in Africa, and all of those kinds. It is not. It is all about building a solid community base that extends out into the world, that provides, that is uplifting. It's really an amazing thing when you stop for a moment and think about what it means to feel good about yourself. Think about it when you feel good about you, how that feels. That's an amazing experience. You feel like you can do anything. Like the world is not against you. And many times this starts in family. I did not see the whole movie. I only saw the first few seconds of it. It was called The Black Candle. And Patty found it. We were looking up some stuff, and it's narrated documentary by the late Maya Angelou. But the thing that was most interesting about the few seconds I got was that no one in the movie that were African American black knew what Kwanzaa was. Whether they were children or adults, moms, nobody. And so no one had any idea. So how can you be a part of something when it's not being taught or you don't know what it is? It's not being taught in the schools. It's not being taught in the churches. It's not going to be, it wasn't being taught in Sunday school classes, because I know I was in there, nothing like this. So how do you know about something like this that is helping you to be uplifted? It wasn't being taught in colleges, universities. None of that was happening. Yes.
In my family, it was tradition every year to celebrate. Right after Christmas, the day after, we celebrate Kwanzaa.
You celebrate Kwanzaa.
And it wasn't a Christmas celebration at all. Completely different.
Yes.
And oh my God, I was looking forward to it because it was just so much authenticity.
Yes.
And oh my God, I always just felt so loved on that day.
Yes.
You know?
And that's very important. Thank you, Dave. It's very important to remember that it wasn't about looking at something that was a religion.
Right.
It was really more of family and spirituality, and there's a big difference. And it's about coming together, whether it was your house being brimming or you were at the community, you were together to celebrate, to bring in new meaning, and to connect up around that meaning, that not only are you there, someone cares. And that you're not alone in your feelings. and that it was something that did not say you do not do Christmas, or you do not do Hanukkah, or anything else anyone believes and practices as part of their tradition. There's nothing in there that says this. All it says is, this is one other thing that you can do, anyone can do it, it's just your choice to bring this into your life, and that it is just endearing and warming. And so when you look at it and you look back at our lives, you realize that on some level, whether you're practicing it like David and his family, or whether things are being done the way that I do them, or whether you just think about it and you just move on, that's fine. It all works. See, it's not about sitting down and saying if you don't do it A, B, C, you're not giving and you're not sharing. That's not about what Kwanzaa is about. From the way I look at it outside of the beginning of it, out of its origin. And the origin is going back into Africa, based on Swahili, and other groups that also practices coming together as family in Africa, but not necessarily this way, or many may not practice it. But the whole idea is that Kwanzaa can be every day. You see, it can be every day. Whether you light candles or not, it's okay. Whether you're wearing clothing or not, it's okay. You do not have to be African American or from Africa or any other place, just you. And you can do it every day along with everything else you do. You have a lot of wonderful choices. So I just wanted to share this way this time. Just come from a different place of being Joyce C Brown. And to let you know that I practice what I learned as a child, still do. It's just part of who I am. And because of what you see, that comes from you doing it. You know, when you walk down a dusty road with a big social basket full of all the wonderful food your mother has made for the lady who has just had another baby, and she has a stair step just like in my family of babies, she had even more, and you knock on the door and she said, well, hello there, baby. Everybody was baby. Sometimes you were a sweetie. And you would say, well, I won't call her name, and then you would say, Miss So-and-so, my mama sent me. Oh, isn't that sweet of her? You tell your mother I said thank you. And I'd give her this big basket, and she'd take it in, and I'd go back and tell my mama what was said, and she'd say, mm-hmm, that was the end of it. That was sharing from that place. And that was something we did a lot of with food, keeping people company in need when they weren't feeling well, helping out when you needed help around the house you were in or the land you were farming to grow. It was always being done. So I just want to let you know, you can do something very, very traditional, and you can do it in the structure of it, which is respecting it, but you can also do what you've learned, which is also respecting that. But it all has the same result. You give from who you are, from the depth of your being, and you don't ask anything in return. Thank you.
Wow.
And Karen, could you help me, let's say the rest of the principles, since you are better at language?
Well, let's all do it together.
No, whatever
Yeah,
works.
let's all say it
Yeah,
together,
let's all
because
say it together.
everybody has a,
Right.
so you want to stand up here with, if you got the microphone. And so, what's the second principle?
So what, you want to start from the first?
You want to use a microphone?
Yeah. the second one.
Okay, so I'll say it and then you read the principle.
All right.
Umoja,
Umoja.
Maintaining unity as a family, community, and race of people.
Kuji Chagulia.
Defining, naming, and creating and speaking for ourselves.
What's the next one?
Ujima.
Ujima.
Building and maintaining our community, solving problems together.
Ujama.
Ujama.
Building and maintaining retail stores and other businesses to profit from these ventures.
Nia.
Nia.
Work collectively to build communities that will restore the greatness of African people.
Kumba.
Kumba.
To find new, innovative ways to leave communities of African descent in more beautiful and beneficial ways than the community inherited.
Imani.
Imani.
The belief in God, family, heritage, leaders, and others that will lead to the victory of Africans around the world.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.